everybody, my name is Lisa Westervelt, and I decided to make a quick video on how to get a beginner to get a sound out of the flute. My student Becca from Southeastern about 10 years ago, she has a young daughter now, Emma, and Emma wants to start learning how to play the flute. And Becca messaged me today, and she, 20 years ago, she's never taught before, so she is just struggling on how to help her daughter get a sound. And she reached out to me and said, do you have any ideas on how I can help her? She's just getting frustrated. So I think that this is something that all of us can relate to who have taught beginners or have picked up the flute and remember what it is like to get that first sound. I think I don't know if this is my particular memory or just a memory of what my parents tell me, but I'm told that it took me 2 weeks to get a sound out of this thing. And 2 weeks as a beginning, as a kid, that's really frustrating. When I was a kid, I hated flute, but I played violin at the time. So I sang a lot. So I had other ways that I was involved in music, but, we didn't have a string program in my school district at the time. And my mom had a flute because she used to play the flute herself. And she just said, you have to be involved in music. You're going to have to take band because you can't play violin at school. And so I was forced into this. And of course now I'm glad, but I hated it when I was a kid. And I think that part of it was just, it's a really difficult instrument to get a sound out of right away. So, I thought that, it would be easier for me rather than try to get Becca going with her daughter via Facebook Messenger or something. I would maybe make a quick video and see if this could help her get going. Okay, so I've taught a lot of beginning flutists, a lot. And usually it's tricky at first. It definitely depends on the kid, but there are some common problems that I thought I was thinking of when I was thinking about how do I get them to make a sound. So the biggest thing is, all right, we always start just with the head joint because the flute is all the way out to here. And I remember when I was a kid, it was the biggest struggle to reach those notes. So, and it's heavy and it's awkward because it's the balance, it's all on this side. And so we're not going to deal with any of that right now. We're going to start with the head joint only. And sometimes people will just try to take it up like this and get the kid to try to blow into this way. And that's okay. I have a different way of holding it that I think makes it a little bit easier when you're trying to get them to direct the sound. And so I like to take it in my left hand like this and just kind of make a fist. So that when they're blowing into it, that way their arm is already kind of in the position that it's going to be in when they're reaching for those keys down here, because this left arm comes across. So if you're trying to get them right here, you can probably get them to do a little bit of directing, but I like to tell them this way because one of the ways that I have success is to try to get them blowing down towards their elbow. So if their elbow is more in front of them, that's kind of an easier reference point. So that's why I have them hold it in their left hand rather than like this. So that's my first step, is hold it in your left hand. You can maybe put your hand at the end just to have a second hand to provide stability. Now, all kids like to try to reach their head forward, and they want to find the flute. And so that's one of the first things, is that you're going to get a lot of faces and where is it? Where is this flute? So if you can get them to just stand or sit in a comfortable position and convince them that you're going to bring the flute to them. That way they're not like straining their head forward and leaning over and like, where is this thing? Right? So that can be a really big struggle too, is to just get the kid to trust that you will get it to them. Okay, so where do you place your lips? So I'm going to come a little bit close so that you can see. We all have this part of our lip where it changes from the pink part to like our regular skin tone. So the edge of that bottom lip and is the best place. Now, if you have a student with thicker lips, you might have to have them move it like a little bit above that onto the lip. But I think for, I mean, we all have different mouths and different lips and everything. But basically, if you can start by finding that line right there. And then, all right, so we're holding this in our left hand. We're going to take that edge that's closest to our face, and the edge of that embouchure hole there, we're going to want to put that against that part of our lip right there. Okay? So I'm going to turn sideways so that you can see I have a good amount of embouchure hole that is still available to blow into. So I'm really only at that point covering maybe 1/4 to 1/3 of the hole. So if I take my finger and cover a little bit of the hole, like that's how much hole you want to have them cover. A lot of kids will try to cover the whole thing, or they'll blow across. So just as a rule of thumb, or lip, or whatever, I like to take maybe like the 1/3 covering and then 2/3 open. So if you were going to match up this edge closest to us with this edge, and we're going to put those together. Okay, so that in itself is not going to guarantee any kind of sound is going to be produced. Lip position, you've got a lot of kids that are going to try to make faces like this. And then you got kids that are going to puff their cheeks. And they're going to make all these faces. I mean, it's the cutest thing, really. So the next thing that I like to think about is, okay, there has to be a pressure here. If you have a good point of contact, again, so like if you take your finger and you just put it right under that bottom lip and you push so that you can feel your teeth. Now you don't want to like push hard so that it hurts, but just push so that you can feel it like there against your mouth. You know, so that this is really kind of pushing, because we will have our left finger here when we have our flute together will provide a point of stability to help anchor the flute against our face, because otherwise it can just slip away. So when you're having your kid do this head joint exercise, have them, you know, you can either have them hold it like this, or sometimes this can be easier. You want to, it's not enough to just have it like touching that lip right there. You really want to push it a little bit against, like towards their chin, towards their, not really their chin, but towards their teeth, those bottom teeth. Okay. So then the next step, I'm kind of close to the camera here, but I really want you guys to be able to see. Your kids are going to make faces. They're going to, this is a popular one. So if you can see, well, what happens when they make this kind of face is that we've got this really big hole there, like an embouchure opening, and then the air is just going to go everywhere, right? So we need to make this into something that's really, really small. The way that I have found the most success teaching my students, it's been a few years since I've had a beginner, but the biggest thing is I have them keep their lips closed. I have them just kind of have like resting face, like they're bored. Just they're sitting there watching TV. They're not doing anything. They're not thinking about their lips, because the moment they start thinking about what to do with their lips, they try to make all these kind of faces. So I like to just have them just totally relax. It's really hard actually to do. And then I like to have them, you know, I will put it up to their face and I'll push it against there. So their lips are closed. So I'm going to stop talking and show you. Okay, and then what I have them do is I try to get them to blow, to use the air to open their lips. So just kind of like that. It's not going to be a focused sound at first, but that doesn't matter because we just want them to get a sound. So usually it'll sound something like that. Like there won't be a lot of sound coming out, but they might still puff their, you know, cheeks or something. But if you can just get them to just have a really resting face, lips closed, and then just use their air to open it. Another way you can do is you can try to get them to say poo, poo, so that they're using like a puh to start with. We're not going to bring the tongue into this yet. That's too much for them to think about right away. So just and I'm trying not to have a good embouchure right now. I'm trying to really kind of replicate what it's like for kids, just coming to the instrument. See, all I did was okay. So that's getting a sound, and that is good for right now. That's really all you want them to do. Another problem is that students can tend to think that, oh, like you've got to blow across. Like there's like the Coke bottle, the blowing across the Coke bottle analogy, and that's good, but we don't blow across. If our angle goes straight across, then we get a lot of wind sound and we don't get actual flute sound. So this is where the elbow comes into place, is if you can get them to think about, okay, now leave your lips closed and blow down towards your elbow. Now, the first thing they're going to do is they're going to look at their elbow. So you're going to see them do that. And they might get some kind of sound. But so then you just say, okay, you're going to leave your head and you're going to, you know, just imagine, like look with your eyes, but try not to move your head. Try to keep your head up here. And you can see. If they have trouble just kind of thinking about their elbow, another thing I like to say is, all right, see if you can feel air move down your chin. So now, that's not exactly how you want to play, but if they can kind of, without sucking their bottom lip, because they will do that too. They'll then try to go, and then they'll try to suck it in, and then it won't work. But if you can get them to see that, so I'll take my hand too, and I'll say, okay, like blow so that you can make the air stream go up and down your hand. So and that seems to allow them to focus, especially if I'm demonstrating it for them. They can see then how much my lips move, and that how it's really my bottom lip that directs the direction of the air. Directs the direction. I just totally repeated myself. But so, you know, I'm not sucking in a lip, But this is all stuff that they're gonna do when they're just trying to figure this out for the first time. So I'm just trying to cover all the bases and what to expect might happen. And this exercise is really useful then when they're really great at making that sound and you want to try to get them to play up an octave without just going, without just blowing super hard. Then you can use that again when you're trying. But you know, that's advanced stuff. Okay, we're not going to worry about that yet. The fun thing that you can do is once you get them to make a sound, they can do that. You can see how many times without even worrying about upper sounds yet. So once they're really comfortable making a sound, then the next thing that I do is I take it away and I have them practice just being able to find that spot, you know, that spot right here with the lips so that they're finding that. And then you take it away because that takes a lot of practice too, the memory of where this is. So that's a really great exercise just to get them comfortable with finding that spot. And remember, if they have thicker lips, you're going to want to move that a little bit higher onto the pink part there. So, and that'll still work too. So basically that bottom edge is a really great point. And another thing that you can practice without having to worry about trying to get the note to jump the octave or to a higher pitch yet is to have them hold a breath sustain a pitch for a longer period of time because, you know, the flute, we waste 60% of our air. I think it's like a 60-40 ratio. 60% of it just goes like out there and 40%, something like that, goes into the flute to make the sound. So there's gonna be a lot of wasted air. So that's a lot, you know, on other instruments, oboe, trumpet, basically anything where you've got the instrument inside of your mouth or right up against your lips, all of your air is going to go into that instrument to make a sound. With the flute, that's totally not the case. A lot of our air just gets wasted. So we run out of air and breath really quickly. So, you know, that's totally normal. But it can be really frustrating, like when you're trying to get your kids to play a whole note and they're just running out of air and they're like, I can't even make it 2 counts, you know. So, you know, then the next thing that you can do is have them just try to hold it. And they're not going to be using support right now. So it's not going to be very long. If you have a clock, I don't know how many of us still have a clock that goes around where you can see the second hand ticking, but that can be a good way, or to have even the digital timer on your phone. If you just have it, have them see how long they can hold that and then try to get 1 more second the next time. So you hold it for 3 seconds, that's great. Let's see if we can get it to 4. And you just keep making these challenges. And a fun thing that they can do is that they can make this like slide whistle sounds. And the more times they can hold it with their finger going in and out, that's another way that they can increase their stamina of supporting and holding the note with a way that makes it a little bit more fun. So I hope that is really helpful to you and to your kids and anybody that is struggling to get a student or your child to make a sound on this thing, because it is difficult. And if you don't have somebody around that can really help you, it can be a very frustrating situation. And that's, I think, the hardest thing for getting a kid started on flute is just getting confident with being able to produce a sound. And that can really make or break a kid's interest in whether they're going to continue with flute or not. So hopefully these tips helped you and helped your kid, and maybe I'll do this again. I'm going to share this video with Becca so that she can help Emma get started and hopefully be a little bit more successful. So thanks for watching, and maybe we'll make another one of these videos soon.